Anyway, Jim, I did press record quite a while back.
You did?
Yeah.
I had a feeling you might have done that.
Yeah. Well, we were talking good anyway. But
Yeah.
But this week on
It's all good to document.
Yeah. But this week on Dolphin, Jim.
This week on Dolphin.
On the Dolphin Podcast.
Yes.
Our Dolphin Podcast.
This
Epic.
is it. This is it.
Got the logo sorted.
And it looks good.
Yeah. I like it.
It's a brilliant logo.
It's jumping out of the universe.
Perfectly relevant.
Into the world.
Yeah.
Well,
or the bridge between the world and the vast unknown.
Yes.
Or unexplored territory.
Talking about unexplored territory, the vast unknown. One of the subjects we're going to sort of tiptoe on today is like UFOs, right?
UFOs.
Because I just watched a little documentary that you made, so you went to Heaven Forest.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a little forest like near Kerry, is it?
It's
No, it's further than that.
It's up towards Llanidloes. Now I'm terrible with geography and stuff, but you go up towards Llanidloes and then it's up around the dam, Clywedog Dam.
Okay. I
could take you there, but I just couldn't describe it to you. You know,
take us there verbally.
Okay. How to get there?
No, I suppose. So you went there with a friend because there was like some sort of testing site.
Yeah, well, we've been planning it for like about a decade now. And back in the early 90s, even the late 80s, I think is when it started. And there's a blog on this. Maybe we can put a link to it. Because I can't remember what it's called now. But they were doing some sort of, I think it was electromagnetic radiation testing there or something. Some scientists from, I think they were from Nevada. And so, you know, people were seeing these Jeep things with blacked out windows driving through Llanidloes and obviously American. And then people would go walking in Heaven Forest. And because it's quite vast, you can just end up in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
They'd stumble upon this site and then there would be armed security guards there and they get turned away. So obviously this is going to lead to...
Very intriguing that.
Yeah.
Isn't it, for like a lot of people?
It is.
Getting turned away from a forest, you know, in your local...
So then there was all these rumours going around that it was to do with UFOs and stuff like that. You know, it's inevitable, isn't it?
Natural conclusion.
Natural conclusion. UFOs. But anyway, this chap on his blog, he worked there and he's put photos on it. And one he took from a helicopter and you can see like a big silver dome just in the middle of these trees. It'd be very hard to find it. So we decided to go there and look for it, and we did find it. Somehow my friend got the directions, the map.
Wow, like the coordinates.
Yeah, the coordinates. He got them. And so we managed to find it. And you would never find it by yourself. You just could not find it. And we did. And so, and it's a big place. It's quite easy to get lost.
Yeah, Heaven Forest is just huge,
forest.
You know, untouched. You know, nature just been growing for...
There's just all these little tracks, like all these dirt tracks that just go off in all these different directions, and it's where the like the timber trucks go, you know, to and it's just, so we went for a little drive, but I didn't have much fuel and I was getting a bit nervous because I could have got lost. But we wanted to go there, and so we made this little video, and we just put all the footage together and made this little spoof. It's funny, really.
I liked it, man. Yeah, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Sort of exploring.
But we were actually a bit disappointed, I guess, because we were like, "Oh, really? Is this it?" You know,
she wanted to see like the
an alien or something. You know,
just walking around like Mr. Burns in the forest glowing.
Yeah. But it looked a bit peculiar, you know, and it was it's worth going there, though. I'd say, just to say you've been.
I went through like a phase where I was, you know, sort of looking into UFOs and aliens and things like that.
Yeah.
But you know, man, I can't believe it. I can't believe in anything like that because it can't be seen.
Okay.
And maybe some other people can see this stuff. You know, we don't know what each other can see, right?
No.
So say somebody says that, oh yeah, I can see a ghost, or they can see this and that. I can't say, well, you know, you can't.
Well, no.
But I know that I can't. You know I'll never believe in ghosts or UFOs because I won't be able to see them. Maybe my brain doesn't work like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You know, UFOs and things like that. Some people say they've seen them.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I wish I could. I wish I would, man. That would be amazing.
No, that's a perfectly logical stance to take. I mean, obviously, there's what's that saying that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence?
Yeah, I heard somebody say that yesterday.
I didn't coin that, but there you go.
Yesterday, I heard that. I don't know what I was watching yesterday, but
so if I just said like, "Hey
Darren
James, I've got a new pet dog," well, you haven't seen it, but you probably wouldn't doubt that, would you? But if I said, hey James, I got a new pet unicorn, you're probably not going to believe me. Well, you might, because, you know me quite well, maybe, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Something like UFOs, yeah, fair enough. There's things you can't see that you believe in, but that's kind of like a bit out there, so I can understand that.
I'm so curious now. So looking forward to this now. But do you believe in UFOs?
Oh, that's something I've given a lot of thought to. And I'm still not... I don't know. Of course, UFO just means unidentified flying object. So I believe in those, because there's plenty of those. But whether or not there are other life forms flying around in a ship, I don't know.
What do you mean you believe in UFOs? What do you mean there's plenty of those?
Oh, well, UFO, when they say there's a UFO, what they mean is an unidentified flying object.
Yeah, which isn't like a plane.
It could be a frisbee
flight.
or something, couldn't it? So I believe in objects which are flying, which are unidentified.
We've all seen like these strange footage, things like that.
Yeah.
Which, where it might be like a UFO-looking thing, or we've heard like even astronauts, right? I don't know if it's like quote-unquote some astronauts, or if it's just me reading stuff that is in quote marks.
I've seen that footage from NASA.
Yeah, when they just like see something flying.
Thing, yeah.
And pilots as well, saying like they've something just bombed it past them, going in different directions, just changing like seamlessly.
There's a very good episode of, it's called The Unexplained, with Howard Hughes. He has a podcast, and it's absolutely fantastic. And he did an episode on this, there was a pilot that was flying over the Channel Islands, Guernsey, I think, and the pilot came on the show and talked about the experience he'd had. And that was really, really, I was just glued to the earphones, that's really interesting. So there does seem to be a lot of anecdotal evidence. And I suppose, given the vastness of the universe and everything, it seems improbable we'd be alone. But whether or not they're flying around and coming to visit us, I just don't know. I hope so.
You would have thought so. Even if they're like, using us as like farming, or they're just, curious and watching us. I think that's a possibility. Like, it's just because of the vastness of the universe. Right, it just gets insane. There's a good website that you can look at, the size of like an atom, and you can just keep scrolling, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger,
stuff like
and
that
then
creeps me out,
suddenly the sun is the size of like a skittle in the front, in the center of American football field.
Yeah,
and then a bigger sun is the football field, and then that shrinks down again. It's like this goes beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
So based on the size, man, there's got to be other life. Yeah, I reckon they're probably visiting us, just to entertain myself. I think, yeah, probably.
In terms of sheer probability,
yeah,
it seems likely, doesn't it? That what you were just describing reminded me. I remember I had a dream a long, long time ago, and the very end of the dream, it ended like that. I saw, like a map of where we live, and it was zooming out, and then it went to the globe, and then to space, and it just went out and out and out. And it turned out that the entire universe was contained within a freckle on this lady's arm drinking coffee in a cafe.
That's amazing.
And I woke up and I thought, wow, I've never forgotten that. Couldn't really deal with it.
That's awesome. That's your brain just like...
It's just like unexplored territory alert.
Yeah. That's so cool. But it's so true. I think that's just like, that's the way it is. Isn't it? Everything is in everything somehow.
I remember thinking though, if it's just infinite and it's not like a fixed determinate size, there's no scale anymore. Say you get like a model car and it's like 1 in 100 or something. It's like, but if it's just constantly expanding, there's no sort of scale for size comparison anymore. But yet things are a fixed size. Maybe they're not. I guess that's quantum physics and I know nothing about that. But as for UFOs, that's really interesting. I remember when I was young, I would go out, and I must have been told this, but you look up at the sky and they'd say, if you will want to appear, it will. And you could summon it with your mind. I remember trying to do that. And when I lived in Canada, I used to watch these documentaries about them. And my mum said, oh, yeah, apparently they know what you're thinking. And that really creeped me out.
The aliens?
Yeah. She's like, they know what you're thinking. Apparently. I remember saying that. And I remember being afraid to sort of
think.
Yeah, like that Twilight Zone episode. I was talking about it before with a friend about the young boy, and he can do things with his mind, and people are just petrified of him because he knows what you're thinking. If you're
like
not
Darren Brown, man, I've just been watching him as you came in now.
Yeah,
that's what he does, and he says like, "Look, I got no special skills or anything, but he can guess like incredibly accurately."
Oh no, this guy could like set the curtains on fire or something.
Okay.
If you tell him off, boom. stuff like that. But scary, the idea of someone being able to read your thoughts.
So the aliens could potentially read your thought. And so when you willed, did you see anything? Did it
No,
work?
I never did. But I've had dreams about them. They're quite weird. Yeah. And that's usually when I'm going into an area of my life which is absolutely mysterious and fascinating. I dream about UFOs. I suppose it's a good metaphor, but there'll be one. I've dreamt that I was controlling one of my mind up in the sky. Or once I was hiding, in a house somewhere, and there was one outside, and it had a big searchlight, and I was hiding from it. They're quite frightening dreams, actually. But that never happened.
I think I've dreamt about UFOs, but I got a good friend, man, and he said he's seen like a UFO in town, and it's something that I know if I was next to him, I wouldn't have been able to see it.
Okay.
But he was adamant. He was like, it was just above the chip shop.
Yeah.
And it was there, and then it zoomed off, and he was like, it was as clear as day. I knew what it
chips.
was. Yeah, probably. It's a good chippy down 7th Street.
Yeah, and when it comes from a reliable source,
well, it was just adamant. He was like, man, it is what it is. Like, I know what I saw. It was obvious.
And people can be mistaken, of course. It's like, because people have said to me, oh, such and such a thing is true. Trust me, I wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah, it's not
and
about
I'm thinking,
that.
well, don't think you're lying. I just think you might be mistaken.
Yeah. It's easy to trick the mind, right?
Oh,
and especially
completely.
You going back saying about willing.
Yeah.
I think, and I've done that to myself before. I'm like, I reckon if I really wanted to see a ghost, I would probably see one, and it would freak me out because it doesn't matter if it's real or not. In my mind, I've created it to be real.
Yeah.
So that's the definition of like me going insane. I'm seeing things that might not be there, And like I know how powerful our minds are.
And technically, in a sense, it does exist at that point.
Yeah, I suppose it
Even
does.
if it's just in your mind.
In your reality, it exists.
It's a phantasm or something.
And that's like terrifying.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to see anything. No. Unless this is on the news.
I've thought that before, like when when you're a kid and you're laying in bed and it's like, well, I was a bit older than a kid, but I thought, I'd really like to see something just to, confirm that this isn't it. And then I think, well, do I really want to see something? Because that'd be quite frustrating if you were a spirit. It's like you ask to see me and then you freak out when I appear. So be sure that you really do, But no, actually, my dad, he remembers when he was young. This would have been in Surrey somewhere, but he was going in the car with his dad and brother and sister, and there was a strange light in the woods. You could ask him about that and he'd tell you, and his dad even reported it, I think. But, who knows what the heck it was, but my dad's dad certainly wasn't a fool, and he was baffled by it.
I know a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people are close to us, and I'm sure anybody listening to this now, anybody in the world knows somebody where it's been like, when you kind of trust this person, they're sensible. They're not like a conspiracy nut or anything. There's normal people, and they're like, yeah, this one time, honestly, this thing just came past me, and they thought it was a ghost or something, or a UFO in the sky.
There was a chap, again, on Howard Hughes' podcast. Don't know if I can plug that on here, but great show if you're into that stuff. He had a guest on there once that said, and this was so fascinating, even if the guy was just making it all up, it's like reading a book that you just can't put down. But he said that he'd been in one of these ships when he was a kid, and it had appeared to him in the form of a car, a motor car of this family. And he got in it, and he says, the stuff he was describing in there was just insane, how they were operating the craft and everything. But he said they appeared to him in the form of something that he would recognise and wouldn't be frightened by. But he knew exactly what it was when he was in it, and then they brought him back down to earth. And I thought, that's just so interesting, far-fetched, but I could, nothing would really surprise me. And then I remember Nick, my friend Nick and I, we'd be out looking at the night sky when we went camping, and we'd talk about it. Nick used to say, "Just please come and take me away from this bloody planet. I'll give anything a go."
Yeah.
I used to think, what would it look like on those ships? I imagined them being, in my mind, looking like something that's 100 years old, really metallic and old and rusty, but still like far more advanced than what we have. That was the image I used to have.
Really, mine's like it's all white. It's very like medical looking.
That's interesting, isn't it?
And just glass and then white surfaces.
Think of like old metal equipment that's really old, but still far more advanced than what we have. That's how I always imagined it, and that's something I've created, I know. But think how you'd feel knowing that you were just out somewhere in space on this ship. I don't know. I couldn't deal with that.
I think terror would be like, an understatement.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? You'd be having an out-of-body experience because of like how scared you are, surely.
I hope
If
you
you
know
woke
how to
up-
fly this flipping thing. Like, because, sometimes they crash, apparently. Maybe, like, Area 51 and everything. That's going to get mentioned at some point. But I would think, well, so they cock up as well sometimes then. If that happens.
Oh, the aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can drink driving, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're crashing there.
And then I used to think, suppose you were coming to Earth and you look at the globe and you think, well, if we go somewhere like Russia, we've got less chance of being seen than if we land on that tiny little island. Kind of blend in a bit more,
I don't know.
So it's something I've thought a lot
They can't be
about.
thinking like logically like we are, like
Who
that.
knows?
It's going to be all very... Like when big decisions are made, like big corporate business decisions, it's nothing like
Yeah.
probable.
Where are we going to
it's
go
like-
today? Oh, USSR.
Yeah.
Go on then.
It's just going to be,
No.
very like, very detailed, very organised. Like, if anything, it's going to be highly intelligent, beyond our kind of intelligence,
It would have to be, wouldn't it? Just to be able to get here.
Mm.
Just to have something that is capable of going quick enough so you don't die like halfway there because of the time it takes to get there. It's... I don't know, but...
But do you think then, so you hear people on some podcasts, hear people tell stories sometime, like in the media, and do you think a lot of people kind of jump on this bandwagon and they've convinced themselves in their head and they know what they're doing sometimes? Because when you hear somebody and like what they're doing, they're marketing themselves, they're marketing their story,
Yeah.
and you can see sometimes you're like, yeah, this person, they've convinced themselves into what they're saying,
Yes.
but they must know that what they're doing,
That's,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And I'm
process.
sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a job choice in a way. It's a career.
Yeah.
So this is who I am, and you convince yourself, and if you talk about it enough to yourself, and you think about it enough, you tie up all the ends. So you've got this like story which you could sound believable.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to kind of disprove you,
Especially
because it's you in your head.
And you look genuine because you really believe it yourself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no, that's something I'm aware of.
I'm sure that's like 99.9%
Yeah.
of people that talk about UFOs.
That's
They
why
know what they're doing.
That's why I'm so skeptical of everything, because I know that people can be deceived, and I know that the placebo effect is so powerful because it's happened to me, and it's happened to me in contradictory ways. I've experienced things that, for example, A and B, and I think, well, they both cannot be true, and yet I've had an experience of A and I've had an experience of B, and I think, well, that doesn't make any sense. And so I thought, well, my mind is really powerful and is bringing this to life. There must be some survival advantage in it or something. But so I'm really aware of the placebo effect, and I see it just in so many things. And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at the things people believe in and claim to believe in.
I reckon, surely, right, do you believe this as well? Do you reckon, in like 1,000 years, we would have come into contact with some other form of being? Because we would have left, our solar system by then, right? 1,000 years.
From now?
Yeah, from now.
Okay.
We would have left the solar system.
Well...
But then again, those, whatever it is that they're getting more advanced, or maybe we're the most advanced, and we find something else which is yet to be evolved. They're still got sticks and whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
We're surely gonna find.
To put a time frame on it's difficult, but 1,000 years is quite reasonable.
I want it to be in my lifetime. I want to be like 30 years, but that's highly unlikely.
Seeing how things change in 100 years, 1,000 years is probably.
Oh, I would love to see. When you see movies and like Independence Day, and you see like a UFO coming through the sky.
Yeah.
Please, wouldn't that be amazing?
I don't know.
I would love it, man. I'd be like, yes, because this is like
people out.
It would freak out. It would be complete chaos.
Yeah.
But that's what the universe is, man. Like, and honestly, I'm like supportive of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, bring it on, because it'd be the first time oh my god, it'd change everything.
It would.
Changes everything.
Perhaps, some people have said, well, they know that we're just not ready for it. Now, maybe they know it would freak us out, but they certainly don't care about the fact that we're so freaked out at the moment, because loads of people are completely spooked out.
It wouldn't come through the sky, would it then? Surely, if they're like, okay, let's say hello, or let's, not invade, but let's, just introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
They're not going to come through the sky with like thunder, and everyone's going, ah!
No.
Because they know, they probably must understand emotions and fear and survival, basically, isn't it? They'll have the same kind of survival instincts. Any form of life, surely, has got that survival. So it's like if you're under threat, you're going to freak out. So they'll understand that about humans, surely.
I would have presumed that they would have evolved by a Darwinian mechanism. You would presume that's universal, but perhaps not.
It's got to, like in my, of course, that's the only way we can comprehend it. Because what else is there? It's insane. It's like what they should look like. There's an awesome movie. What is it? District 9.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Where they do the prawns and they eat, there's a UFO just above like South Africa, and they kind of look like reptiles. They kind of look like prawns, but human-sized prawns. So they get the nickname prawn. Okay. But yes, people have got this idea of what they should look like. Things with a body and limbs, and and a head. That we can't comprehend what else something intelligent would look like, can we?
No.
It's not going to be like a giant caterpillar, because it wouldn't work.
No.
Because it needs to have that flexibility, that movement that we've got with our limbs, and that's the greatest thing that we can. How would you improve the human body? So for us to see something that would be greater than us, more evolved than us, but like what humans look like, in 10,000 years when we've evolved. Yeah. I think we're going to start losing. I don't know. I can't remember what I read once, but something's going to happen with I think our legs get shorter or something. Well,
no, I remember. I can't think who it was that said now. He was quite a well-renowned physicist, I think, though. But he said, like, when whoever's living on this planet, when we have to experience the eventual heat death, they're not going to look like we do if we live that long. I remember him saying
when we've got to escape the planet, they're going to look. Is that what you mean?
Well, I don't even think we could escape at that point, but they wouldn't look like this anymore. I remember him saying that.
Yeah, so maybe aliens, if something came here, they would look like what we might look like in a million years.
Different atmospheric pressures and climates. I mean, just look at like people that live in like China. I always used to think, well, what is it in their evolution that's made them look like that? Even with just the eyes. I mean, Nick used to talk about it. People look different, don't they? It's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. Just, it can affect the way you and that's just here on Earth. So, who knows what they look like.
It'd be completely different, man, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, if they were going to invade, or if they weren't going to go I didn't mean to say invade. Invade's the wrong word.
See, that's why they won't come. Yeah. You keep putting the negative spin on it.
I can't help it. It's like natural. My brain goes, invade. It's like, no, I don't want them to invade. If they were just going to sort of like introduce themselves, it would be subtle, surely.
You would have thought so. Maybe they, like people say,
put something in the sky.
They'll be walking around amongst us or something.
Yeah, I've got another friend as well who thinks he's seen one, like walking around.
Wow.
And it looked at him and everything. And that freaked me out so much, man. Because I'm like, I wouldn't be able to see it. I've got my normal brain and I'm thinking about my own stuff, right?
Yeah. And I wonder if
some people might just have a different view of reality. Which is possible and is happening all the time anyway. We've all got, how you can just easily like trick somebody, out of basic magic. Something's there and then suddenly it isn't.
Yeah.
But the other person might have seen the trick, So we all look at reality a bit differently.
Yeah.
So they're seeing, aliens or somebody is, and I won't be able to see it. So it's just, it freaks me out.
But all this does is just push everything further back and I'd have to ask them, well, so what the hell's going on then? Do you know any more about stuff than we do? And presumably they're just trying to figure it all out. Like
the aliens?
Yeah. So do you know why you exist?
I think they would have, hopefully they'll be out of war mode, which is survival, right? It's like culture or colony versus colony.
War mode.
Group versus group. I think they'll be out of war mode because they would have evolved more. So it'd be more about like just basic, pure, simple love and compassion, empathy. That's where I think evolution is going anyway. That's where I think like the pinnacle of life is. It's just pure love, which is acceptance and compassion, empathy, all this stuff. Let's encompass all of that into the word love.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
That's the way I think. And it's silent in that. It's just unconditional love, right? So, I think that's where anything that evolved than us, further evolved than us, would be.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they haven't said hello yet, because we're going to shoot at them
That's an
as soon
interesting point.
as soon as they come down on the hovercrafts.
Yeah. That's quite metaphysical, actually, isn't it? Because to imply that there's more evolved, as if there's something that we're aiming towards. Because, just brute Darwinian evolution is really just concerned with the survival of that individual thing. But when you talk about transcending that to this love, it's like almost implying there's like a benevolence to underpins the universe.
There's got to be.
And that's really hopeful and lovely, and I hope that's true as well. Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be.
Or you could never say anything was further evolved. You could just say it's adapted to that particular instance, but to say it's further evolved would imply that there's something we should be evolving to, and that would make sense to me, that they were more like that. Yeah, completely.
It makes sense, I think, to further human life, to further life all around us. If we do have acceptance and understanding and empathy, because then everything collectively is going to grow together. It's not like crush that because I disagree with it.
Yeah.
Or I think that's out to get me, the paranoia. Let's destroy that. It's love and unconditional, and I think naturally we're filtering that stuff out. What would kill us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Avatar touches on that a little bit. The movie Avatar, man.
I did see that quite a long time ago.
How everything's connected and whatnot. I think it's a great metaphor. It's a great movie in that regard.
I'd have to watch it again, but I remember thinking there was more to this than I was really paying attention to. But I was aware of it, though. Yeah. So it's an interesting topic, isn't it?
And that's all about, say that movie, humans going to this other planet and whatnot.
Yeah, Avatar. It's a bit sort of like cartoony, wasn't it? Not cartoony, but what do they call it now?
The Navis.
No, like the, when I was a kid...
Animation, CGI.
Yeah. When I put Noddy on as a kid, it didn't look anything like it does now. It looks better now, but it was nicer, actually.
I know Noddy was done, actually. That's like stop and start. I mean, that's a lot of work, man. Noddy.
It used to be like simplified when I was a kid. It was just like one of those flick books. You could have made it with that, And now it's like, wow, look at that,
But still, that's a lot of work. Even a flip book. You've got to do something, and then they want to move it, so you've got to do it again. Take a while.
I remember asking my friend that studied like animation, actually. I said, well, does that mean that every single frame has been drawn out in some flip book? She was like, no. I said, that would just take forever.
Yeah.
Now we need this scene, right? Draw it all out again with just a tiny bit of difference. Oh.
So what do they do then? They get like a basic mark, and then to another basic mark, and then the computer estimates what it's going to do.
Makes sense.
Over a few seconds. No, I'm asking you. That's what I'm assuming.
Oh, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I knew in my mind, no, surely they don't have to draw out every individual scene. And even if you did, you could have something that could just do it digitally anyway. But
I think the computer is going to estimate. Say that you want a motion, say like a dinosaur's tail swinging.
Yeah.
It's not frame by frame by frame by frame. It's here, and then the end part's here, and it'll put it in.
Okay. It's just amazing, isn't it? I was thinking before, there's so many things that I don't understand how it works. Even music. You listen to some cheesy song from like the 80s and you think, how are they making those sounds? All right, a synthesizer, a keyboard. But it's like, how are they doing that?
People get really creative, don't they?
Even just a background tune. Very often that's playing the tune and they're singing to it. But it's like, I don't know. It's fascinating how everything works.
I remember reading about this conspiracy theorist, and he was saying that they have the technology, which they probably do, this is understandable, to project something in the sky, like holographically.
Oh, yeah.
And he's saying that they're going to do that for UFOs.
Wow.
He goes, you wouldn't be surprised, or like a god or somebody.
Yeah.
And he's saying like this is going to be like going into the next like world war, I suppose, which would be like at the end of religion, because they would put something, something out just kind of to start this war. Okay. I didn't believe this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Of course not, but it's interesting that somebody's, saying these things, and just give it a bit of time to think about it.
I've seen some of those holograms and they're amazing.
Yeah.
That one of like a great big whale or something, and it comes out of the gymnasium and everybody, it made me jump watching it on the computer. It was just mind blowing.
What came out the floor?
I think it like came out, everyone was just sitting in the school gymnasium and it just like appeared out the floor like it was doing a big flip. Everyone was like, whoa. And I remember I just thought, wow, that would just frightening if you were there.
I remember there was an Eminem concert, and they had Tupac,
Yeah.
like holographically on the stage with
I
him.
remember that.
And it looked amazing. And I remember this was just like in passing. It was
Yeah.
whilst I was scrolling, and I was like, this changes everything.
Mm.
With Tupac, like, boy, we can bring people back in that way. Like, how the hell is he singing? And I think it must be one of his... But is that recorded footage of him?
It would have to be. Well, you could probably do an AI version now.
That's what. Yeah, you could probably do an AI version, like almost frame by frame again, but it'll look the same and sound.
I think there's like a Black Mirror episode on that. Did you ever watch Black Mirror? That was.
I have watched Black Mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody dies, you can bring them back, and they.
Oh yeah.
They take all the sound clips and videos of them, and.
Yeah, and it's a generic version of them.
Yeah, very good. But I remember when I was really young, thinking like, oh, when somebody I love dies, it's going to be really tough. And maybe I could, before they die, get them to record loads of things and videos and sound clips. And I'd either just leave the video playing all day, or I would take them and turn them into something. And it would be like having them in the room. I remember thinking that when I was probably about 15 or something. Yeah. So you'd have to get a lot of footage, or you just get used to it, wouldn't you? But, and then,
I don't know. I think the natural kind of like the way we live, when someone passes, they pass. It wouldn't even be like natural or normal, I don't think, if you had like these audio clips or recordings of them and they're like in day-to-day life and you listen back to that, unless it was something like really encouraging, so in a low moments you listen to them and it was like, believe in yourself, you can do this and that, because that's really nice and lovely.
It would be weird.
You couldn't like try and replicate their life, or
hey Dad, I'm home from work,
Yeah.
Because he's going to say such and such a thing at 4:00, so it'll pan out about right if I walk in the door about now. But
yeah,
you couldn't fool yourself, but maybe it would ease some of the pain. I don't know. I just remember thinking it.
No, I think it's part of life, man. Like, all our ancestors have been through it, and that's like mourning when someone goes, death. I mean, it's...
probably isn't healthy to do that, actually, because you
do
need
to
mourn, don't you?
Yeah, you need to mourn. It's part of, like, evolution of your own life.
Yeah.
It's as you progress in life and you get stronger.
Yeah.
Mourning is a real big, helpful part of life like that.
And if you've convinced yourself, or even you've just sort of convinced your unconscious mind that they're kind of half still there, it does seem a bit odd.
That's another podcast in itself, Jim.
Definitely.
About like afterlife and things like that, because that's a never-ending discussion, like with UFOs.
Oh yeah.
And the expansion of the universe, And,
uploading consciousness into like an AI or something like that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff's
trying
really
to define consciousness to start with and whatnot.
But it would be really nice if a UFO would come and land, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd welcome it. I'd bring it on, please. But especially when you got work the next day, say it's a Sunday and you're Monday, you're like, oh, please, Monday morning at 8:00, UFO in the sky, don't have to go to work. That changes everything. If you've got a routine and you're bored, let's will a UFO. Just to change it. I don't want to go into work on Monday, let there be a UFO. Imagine that. Why weren't you in work yesterday? Have you seen the news? UFO in the sky?
Even if
no one's going to ask that.
If it just came to your house, it would give you a legit reason to phone in, wouldn't it? It's like, you're not going to believe this, but there is a UFO at my house and I want to spend the day with it.
Yeah, and I'll put him on the phone to you now. Just try and explain. I'll send you the photo.
Yeah. But do you remember Stephen Hawking, not long before he died, he'd said something like, oh, it's best not to let them know we're here, or try to communicate with them because they might come and take our resources or something, our oil, or, we don't know what they're going to be like.
Yeah, they might have like
just brutal savages.
Yeah.
I think, again, I always mentioned the Twilight Zone, but there was an episode like that where one landed, and I can't remember what happened, but it basically deceived all the people because they wanted to eat them or something like that. But everyone fell for it, and they were very smart. And it's a good point, though. Like, if you see something coming over the horizon and you've got no idea what it is, it's like, friend or foe? What do you assume?
Yeah.
I mean, if they were a foe, it's not like we could do much about it anyway. So I guess once they're here, they're here. The US Army aren't going to hold them off, are they?
Me saying before about love being like the pinnacle of evolution, like pure love and acceptance of oneself and everything that exists.
But if that wasn't true,
but maybe that's not true. Maybe it's greed.
If there is no transcendent,
then it's greed. So they're going to turn up and they'll be even greedier.
And they are at the highest form of evolution, mate, because you've been eaten. Which is why that's a real tough sort of model to be spiritual with. But yeah, I would hope they were nice. And come now if you're there. I mean, we're ready for you. Come on, look at it.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have a little snack first. I'm gonna put something in the microwave, and then even when I'm halfway through that, you can appear then. You don't want to see something when you're a bit hungry.
When you're a bit hungry?
Yeah.
No.
You'll be hangry.
Be nice to have a full belly.
No, not now.
Yeah. I wonder what
It's
they
the
would eat.
weekend. Come on Monday, man.
Yeah. Wait till I've been to sleep or whatever.
But Jim, that would just change everything, wouldn't it, man?
Oh, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it just change everything?
It would be like
Oh, I kind of want. That's why I want it to happen. Just
landing
the
on the
excitement.
moon. It would be like, 1969 moon, 2069 an alien visits. Yeah, I can imagine that being on the timeline.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? It does make sense.
Maybe they'll come just before we're wrecking the planet or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not even there.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
But something that is here is this podcast.
This podcast,
Dolphin
is here.
Podcast, Jim.
Yeah.
It's alive. It's thriving.
Yeah.
Not just surviving.
It is alive, like the yeast in the bread. It is alive. In some form. Yeah. Maybe,
Good stuff, man.
Maybe they'll hear it.
Maybe they might hear this.
What did you think, though, just quickly, about that Area 51 thing?
Oh, on the Facebook group.
No, just the actual event, when it happened in 1940, what was it, 9 or something, 45?
What did they do?
They reckon a UFO landed was it in Nevada?
I don't know.
You know where Area... No, it was in New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico, wasn't it?
Roswell.
Yeah, what did I call it?
Area 51. So Area 51 is supposed to be like this military base.
That's it, of course. I mean,
but Roswell, ended
Roswell.
up saying it was a weather balloon.
I'm thinking Area 51 because that's where everybody thinks it is, don't they?
Yeah.
But no, the Roswell incident, that's it. And they said it was a hot air balloon or something, didn't they?
I mean, just for entertainment and kind of fictional purposes, and
Yeah.
I like story and adventure, like I said, purely for entertainment again.
Yeah.
I like to believe it's true. Like, it was a UFO and blah, blah. But if you kind of look at the data and the details, it's like, it becomes a bit more boring and real. And, it's impossible to find out the truth, isn't it? Anything can be covered up. Anything.
Yeah. It can.
Anything could be spun. It's easy to mix words together.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that footage they put out in about 95 or 96 of the autopsy?
Mm.
I remember when that came on television. I remember thinking, wow, like, wouldn't it be cool if that was real? But even then, I remember thinking it's probably not, and I think it did turn out to be a fraud.
I think that's too much, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it fuels the imagination. And the magic part of you comes to life, and sometimes it's nice just to have that.
Man, I think that's why it's so popular, like UFOs and anything like that. It's like you said, it fuels the imagination, and that's like a childlike aspect of us that never should go. So it's healthy, man, to even be like, let's use our imagination and why not? Let's have fun. Let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
With the UFOs, bring it on.
And there is that cult, isn't there? And they go out onto like the top of a hill or something and try to pray and summon UFOs. Can't think what they're
I hope
called.
it works.
Yeah.
I hope they do manage to make it work.
I
They
should
can
have
be
looked
kings.
into that.
Did they? They do that as like a weekly sermon or something. People go.
Yeah, they're like this little. I don't like the word cult, but you know what I mean when people say.
Cult's got huge negative, attachment to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Like they're gonna try and convince everybody.
When you think cult, you just think of like a load of people in
crime and murder
in those shawl things all gathered together, evil stuff. But if you're even within Christianity, if you're outside of orthodoxy, you're in a cult apparently, and they just mean that you don't subscribe to orthodoxy. But it's like, oh, cult, and everyone thinks, oh, cult, like they worship a big owl or something like at Bohemian Grove. It's
yeah.
So I don't like the word cult to say someone's in a cult, but obviously they do exist.
If we just look at it just for its pure definition, then I suppose it's all right.
Pretty much every church would be a cult by definition, then, wouldn't it?
Getting controversial now, Jim.
I think. Well, yeah, no, but it's like, that's why I don't like using the term. Even people who are careful, in sort of culty groups, it's that not to them, they're not. It's so.
People are gonna continue to believe in UFOs.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
It's healthy to use your imagination. It's healthy to ask questions.
Yeah.
But I think when some people are so convinced it's this beyond reason, they'll connect the dots in their head even if the dots aren't really there.
Yeah.
But crop circles, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is. I don't know much about that.
I think like they're staged, even though they're so intricate.
I get the feeling they
well
are
planned, but I still think they're well planned.
It's
human design.
Yeah.
It's got to be, man.
Again, it comes down to your your presupposition. Like you go to the evidence with a belief very often, and if you just think, well, they don't exist, your first port of call is going to be, yeah, it was Farmer Giles and his tractor.
Yeah, but like, where were the boards? How did they get the boards?
Yeah, you just did all
the
that.
rope.
But then if you think, well, no, maybe they do exist, and maybe it could be something, and that, I guess that would be a cool way of doing it.
Okay, do you remember watching Art Attack?
Yeah, I remember that.
So, you know,
after school.
Was it like Neil Buchanan?
I remember the guy, but I don't remember his name.
Maybe that was his name.
It was always on after school.
But yeah, it was on after school. So anyway, this awesome artist, right? Used to do like an aerial view, and he used to get like, you know, jumpers or something would be that day's, you know, kind of a medium to produce this artwork. And he'd put all these jumpers down, and he ended up making like some face or something, or a lion, you know, in a field just out of jumpers. Yeah. And he's just doing it like on the ground level.
I remember.
But it kind of zooms up, and you see it's just this huge picture that he's done. And, you know, that's amazing. So for people that would say, well, humans couldn't make these designs in these, you know, crop circles.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, if you've got the mind for it, you know, if you're like an artist, then you could figure this out. It's not like just because you couldn't think of it, I couldn't think of it.
No.
Mine would look like a stick man, and it would be awful as well.
Yes.
If I had my own crop circle, it would be just a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straightforward, or maybe just a line, and then let's just go home.
Yeah.
But, you know, so people could figure out how to do this, you know,
absolutely,
artistically, like in 3D form, you know.
Yeah.
So that's not not a good enough reason to believe it.
That applies to other things as well. I've used that example with people, you know, and I won't name the groups involved and things, but I've had, you know, people at my door selling a particular religion and got a lot of respect for them, and they're saying, well, you don't possibly think that a 14-year-old boy could have come up with a book like this. And I say, well, I'll point to like the Quran and say, well, clearly you think Muhammad could come up with that, and he wasn't inspired by God. Yeah. So we know it's at least possible then, don't we? People can come up with things like that, because there's one example that you don't believe in. So yeah, if we see that guy making all that art stuff, and even now some of the stuff they do just with like bottles and things is amazing.
Oh, it's incredible.
What it shows you is that's at least one possibility. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not a UFO, but we know it could also be that.
Yeah, it could easily be people.
So that comes into the equation when you're trying to figure out what's true, doesn't it?
And if it's done over a few hours, like this, you know, they did a sped up version of this Neil Buchanan Art Attack, making this thing out of jumpers. But you know, he probably did it within half an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So these crop circles, you know, if they had the boards and ropes and they had it planned, bam, 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 out in and out in a few hours.
And it would be a pretty fun thing to do.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I think some people have admitted to it. You know, there've definitely been some.
Oddly
circles.
enough, you know, the chap I mentioned, Howard Hughes. He says on his podcast, he says, I really regret doing this now, because he's a really open-minded guy. But he said when he was about 14 or 15, he was involved in some UFO hoax that went into the papers at the time. And he says, I really regret it now, but it, you know, it was all a hoax. They'd taken a picture or something. And so these things are good fun, aren't they?
Have you read about sheep and cows, you know, their blood being completely drained from their body without like a severe like laceration? You know, their blood's been completely drained, and this is just like around Wales, wasn't it? We heard about like these sheep being found like completely blood drained, and it was really like newsworthy for a bit. And like you quote, you know, interviews with farmers, and they're like, "Yeah, I just found this one of my cattle completely like, you know, what's happened?"
Yeah. So at that point, we go, well, we don't know what happened. Maybe it was a UFO, maybe it was a vampire, but we don't actually know what happened.
Yeah, and that's still unanswered, I suppose.
And you never actually see this stuff yourself, do you? It's always... My friend and I were talking about this the other day. In terms of what we actually know, we're told stuff, and presumably we could go and investigate it, and we'd see the evidence for it. But
take a few days or a few weeks out of our own lives and actually try to investigate this properly.
Yeah.
That's what you would have to do, really, for most things, isn't it? And
but I'm happy to take most of it, you know, at face value. And
yeah, same here.
I believe the Earth's round. All right, I'm not going to go and have to prove that to myself. But
yeah, that's the way we live. You do take it off face value. So
we're going to go and study every single thing, are we?
But saying like about these sheep or cows, you know, having the blood drained, and people going like it's mysterious.
Yeah.
You know, and of course people jump to UFOs because maybe that's been done. You know, when you use but the eyes missing and all blood drained and then like eyes missing.
Wow.
You know,
that is weird.
That is like the definition of weird.
Yeah. And the poor sheep that had to, you know.
Yeah.
Had to go through that. Maybe you'd assume if they were loving and compassionate, they put it to sleep or something first. I don't know, but
maybe they did.
That wouldn't make me think they were a benevolent force if we're finding sheep like that.
But that's strange, isn't it? you know, and like,
Yeah.
so, you know, I think I came, you know, reading about this maybe, let's say 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then being like quite often, like the story being told, again, it was found. And like, that's the first time I remember it in 5 years, just like right now.
Isn't that
Do you
funny?
mean, so it just fades away?
But it's still in there, isn't it? Because it comes out.
Yeah, but the point is, like, it was like, this is weird. No answers given. I didn't even research an answer or anything.
Yeah.
But then it's just gone. You don't care about the answer, I suppose, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess.
I don't know what was the answer. Let's try and, maybe on one
You could probably follow that up.
Yeah.
Like,
might try and
look
have a
up the farm where it happened and say, did you ever find out what did that
Yeah.
to the sheep? And he might say, oh, yeah, you know.
Get away from here!
It had some disease, or no, we just never got to the bottom of it.
Be interesting.
You know? It's like people that go missing. And
But you know what? Some people, like, prefer not to know the answers.
they do.
Do you mean? So say I was a conspiracy nut and I was really into UFOs, I'd be like, yeah, this farmer and this blah blah, you know, and this blood was drained from this sheep,
Yeah.
and no one knew the answer. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
did you even investigate the answer? Do you
No.
mean if I wanted to jump on that bandwagon and leave everything unconnected,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what people do with UFOs and conspiracy theories.
And
You know,
most
they go down a path a little bit, but they don't want to get to the end gate. They don't want it to end. They want it to keep being fun and imaginative.
it.
Yeah, which is fine, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's life, may as well have fun with some certain things. But you know what I'm trying to say?
I do. And a friend and I years ago were doing this comedy sketch about, because it's just come to mind now, and it was about a farmer and a UFO going and doing something to one of the sheep. I think it took it. And in the sketch, the farmer was more concerned with the fact that he was losing one of his sheep than he was actually seeing a UFO.
Yeah.
He was saying, oh, you bloody cheat, get out of here or something. And it's like, no, man, there's a UFO in front of you, you know.
My sheep!
Yeah. So, yeah, you know.
Daisy, no!
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Who knows?
It's a fun path to go down, isn't it? And it's definitely worth talking
It
about.
never gets boring, does it?
It doesn't get boring, man. There's just endless stuff out there. And I think everybody in their life at least thinks about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody would be like, God, when you look at the stars, sometimes it's so
Oh,
beautiful. I rarely do it, man. I rarely do it, because when it's night, it's night and you're at home,
Yeah.
going to bed, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you do get those nights where rarely you like sitting outside or something, you look up and it's like fresh air and you no clouds in the sky and you see the stars.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
You think like, that's just so vast.
So
It's
vast.
so beautiful.
There was a time where I couldn't look at it. It was just too vast.
Too
and
overwhelming.
And I would have I felt like I was going to faint.
Right.
But that didn't last long, but I was like, I just can't deal with this.
Because it's just too much.
It's just too much.
Like, look at those stars, man. They're suns. Like, what? So, I mean, the point being, like, it's
Yeah.
so big that the possibility of there
You're
being
just trying
life,
to comprehend eternity, and you can't do it. It's
No,
like trying to
just throw up.
explain... This isn't a good example. It's like trying to explain algebra to an ant or something. It's just not going to get it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was just making me feel dizzy. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to look at that tonight. But I can now, you know.
Good.
Actually, you know, my uncle had this telescope. It was really amazing. And he used to look through it. That was absolutely fascinating. But
You didn't see an alien on the moon
didn't see an alien on the moon. No.
waving.
Although I have been told recently, this actually made me laugh, but it was interesting. Somebody was saying, they found these bases on the moon. I said, what? He said, yeah, like it looks like there's other people there, you know? And what else did they say? Yeah, they were like these constructions that they'd found.
I've come across this before.
Yeah, and then there was something else that just really made me laugh. I can't remember what it was. But I said, oh, right. I don't know where you heard that. But
Like a space station or something.
no, I wish I could remember it, but I laughed when he told me. I shouldn't have, but it was funny. You know?
So he was being serious.
Yeah, he's like, they found these bases, and then it was something like, you know, and then like this bridge or something as well, and I can't remember what it was. But basically implying that people have been there.
I think we should enjoy the mystery.
Enjoy the mystery.
Why not?
Yeah.
Life's fun.
Life's fun.
You know, let's focus on the important things like, you know, health and exercise. But if we're going to use our imagination, you know, why not? Why not have a bit of fun?
Yeah.
And it's up to I mean, it's not my role in life to disprove anyone.
No.
If someone wants to tell me a UFO story, cool. I'll listen to that.
But at the same time, you know, a really good motto, I think, is a chap I used to listen to. He always used to say, I want to believe as many true things as possible and as few false things as possible. And I always thought, yeah, I would actually. Even though the mystery is fun. Ultimately, you know, I like to believe as many true things as possible.
Yeah, man. I think the other side that's false, just use that as entertainment.
Yeah.
Just have fun.
But like you said, as long as it's in that maybe realm, it's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there have been things in my life, and I thought, I don't want to find this out, because if the answer is no, I'm going to be really disappointed. So I'm just not going to ask, because then it's maybe, and I can kind of just enjoy the maybiness of it.
Enjoy the magic. Yeah. The unknown.
Could be yes, could be no. You don't know what the answer is until you ask. But if I don't ask, it's a maybe. And that's fun. Yeah. That can sustain me in times of trouble. So...
let it be.
Maybe, curiosity curiosity killed the cat, didn't it? Sometimes it could kill you. So, yeah.
Amazing, man. So next time you look at the sky, can you please will a UFO?
I have tried to do that so often. Yeah, I have.
If everyone does that, if everyone in the world just looked at the sky and was like, please, thought of a UFO.
Maybe you could arrange a campaign on Facebook to do that.
Might start it now.
I was just going to say on the last point about telekinesis, me and my friend were talking about using the power of the mind to make someone's heart stop. Jeez. Which is, that'd be really, and it's, people laugh it off, but actually it's quite scary, because it's like,
It's like the definition of evil.
We tried to do it, and it's like his heart rate slowed. I don't know if that's because I was just making him relax, but it's like, maybe I can just keep doing it. Like, I think I can will your heart to stop beating. And he's like, no, don't. I'm paranoid about my heart anyway. Just stopping. Don't. And
start jogging on the spot.
I'm like, I think I can do it. So we have to do an episode on that.
Yeah, telekinesis. Yeah, do a live on-air heart stopping. I
tried to move, a pin or something. It didn't work, but I did make his heart stop. Because Darren Brown's done it, where he's looked out the window and they've just said stop, and they've stopped. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, he's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Just blows my mind.
So maybe you could make the heart stop. I don't know. Or make the bowels drop out or something like in the Bible. That'd be cool. But yeah, so on that note, we'll bring this to a close now.
All right, buddy.
That was interesting, talking about UFOs.
I was really interested in hearing your opinion of it, because imagine you suddenly came out and went, yeah, I know, I believe in them. Because, you're a logical minded person. And so it is interesting sometimes, you see people and they've got their own beliefs, and it's surprising.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are surprised. And I just don't know. I can see how they would exist, and I can see how they just wouldn't. And both are perfectly plausible. Is it 50-50, 60-40? I don't know. I probably just have to say, I don't know. I don't even want to put a percentage on it. But definitely worth talking about.
Absolutely, man.
And views can always change. And maybe they will in 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, maybe
we'll all believe in them, and we'll all know about them.
Bring on the gods. The alien gods or whoever.
Whatever they are. Yeah, if they want to be worshipped, then I'm not going to worship them. But...
They're already gods in my head. Bring on the gods. I want to see the gods.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. Great talking to you
as
always.
To you, James. I look forward to the next episode.
Dolphin Podcast.
Dolphin Podcast.